All right, ladies and gents, welcome, welcome, welcome. We got some good old Arabia. It's a green Arabia. I like it. Better for the eyes. And we've got a 1v1 here. This was a ranked game that was played last week or maybe the week before. And I have a very strong idea of what's going to happen, though I haven't exactly seen it. So we'll start off. We have Black or Blackito here. Black is an Argentinian player, very aggressive. And I get to know these players, right? I've played Black a bunch of times, Emil a bunch of times. And there's a lot of players amongst that top 100 conversation that have gotten there by being insanely aggressive. You look at the tippity top, and those guys are aggressive, but they have good balance. They have good macro, good micro, all that. But there are players who genuinely aren't put so much pressure on in early feudal. I'd say both of these players are definitely in that conversation. Now, Black is the underdog in terms of the rating. I don't know when this was played. Emil, I heard, because I'm kind of friends with him, I heard he actually broke his arm recently, and he's still been playing Age. It's probably not good for it. So I don't know exactly when this happened, but hope he rests up, of course. But Black is playing with a more defensive civ. He's playing with the Burgundians, and Burgundians are defensive simply because you get access to eco upgrades one age earlier. And so you don't have to go full wall, but generally you want to protect your economy because you're investing into the economy. And so that's what I expect from him. Now, guys, I've been meaning to show this to you for many months now, okay? Emil is a player from Denmark, and he mastered this build order. And then he passed it along to Kongen, who you might have also seen in some of my commentary, around 2200. They're both from Denmark. They're both aggressive. They both love this type of style. And it's something you can only do with the Khmer. So it's not something you'll see for the first time, but I think you're going to see it be utilized more efficiently than maybe you've seen before. Because Khmer have been out for a few years now. Some of the bonuses for Khmer would be that you can hide villagers inside of houses. Your farms do not need drop-off points, so you could farm in the middle of nowhere and it's completely fine. You also do not need to build. I don't know why Blue has come home now with his scouts. Interesting. It's like he looked for the enemy and now has come home. But you do not need to build your prerequisite buildings, which is a huge bonus. So, for example, you want to go for a scout rush. Any other civilization, you need to make a barracks, and then you need to make a stable. With this civilization, you can just open up with a stable, right? So what that allows you to do is it allows you to kind of skip a step. So Khmer are actually one of the best scout rush civilizations for that reason. So Emil clearly wanted to know what the opponent was up to, where the opponent was, and he only discovered where the opponent is not. He might assume that the opponent's over here based on his scouting pattern. He didn't see any gold. He didn't see anything of real importance there, but I guess we'll find out. Meanwhile, Black already has the Feudal Age wood upgrade researched. And Black is doing, I think, a very good thing. And walling in towards the TC on this side. And if we had the same thing on this side, the berries are protected, the gold's protected, the wood's protected. Look at this uptime, people. Look at the uptime. This is ridiculous. Emil is getting loom. This is 18 population, 17 villagers, and 1 scout. And let's see if he gets the food here. He's got to get the 500. Boop. There he goes. On the way to Feudal Age, virtually flawless. Emil is clicked up to Feudal Age and will be there right before 8.5 minutes. Doesn't even know where the opponent is. But, like, this is so nice, right? Now, he doesn't have a mill. That's going to be something he'll need later on. Oftentimes, if you go this aggressive, you can't really afford eco upgrades and whatever you're trying to do. But he certainly has a guess that his opponent's over here. And I think that's a good guess, because you would have seen something. But here he comes, looking around, and then we have Black. Black's going to go up to Feudal Age. And this is not a slow time for Black. I would say this is a fairly standard time with the Burgundians. It's just there's a very big difference between the two. Okay, now you go to Black scouting. And scouting is one of my favorite things about this game. It's why I think RM is always going to be better than any other game mode. Scouting and thinking, okay, he's on gold. What's he going to do? Is it going to be man-at-arms? I have to look for the barracks. Going to be this? Is it going to be that? So he sees the gold. And then Emil just arrived here, of course, sees the town center, and had clicked behind here. And this will clearly tell him that his opponent is fully walled. So right next to the opponent's base, we have double archery range. Sneaky archer range is one of my favorite things. This isn't exactly sneaky, but it is bold. It is aggressive. We're going to have a lot of archer production. Now, the key here, guys, I think what's going to make this great is that Black doesn't know Emil's reputation yet, clearly. The key here is to open with an archer range if you're Black, because then you can go into skirmishers to counter this. It doesn't exactly mean that you just win the game there, just because skirms are a counter unit, but whatever building Black's going to go with here in Feudal Age is the most important conversation. Let's see. Neil looking around. Notice how Black didn't scout. He might have been worried that the Feudal Age scout would find him. And there we go. We have an archer range for Black. And look at this even. I think he does know. I take it back. I think he understands Emil's reputation because that was a really fast uptime. And he hasn't seen anything yet. We've got 2 archers out already. It would have actually been more, but Emil got housed. Keep in mind, like, he's just got fletching. He's got no eco upgrades. He's still not even on berries. He's going to need to take his berries pretty soon. Now, at Town Watch, you can see a little bit more. And now Black is going to be kicking himself for not walling in a different way to maybe get another wood line. Obviously, it would have been complicated. But he's going to have to bring skirmishers over here. And Black obviously is going to need to get fletching as well. And again, you know, back to my point, it just puts you under so much pressure that you just don't have anything prepped in time. And I think, like, the very highest level players, they're always going to take the eco approach, which is what Black is doing. But this strategy hits so fast, and there is no focus at Emil's base. Emil sees the tower. He says, okay, so you've dropped a tower. I'm going to drop a tower. He seems to know that that's his opponent's only access to wood. He hasn't confirmed it, but he has to assume. And so he's made enough archers, and I think what he could do is he could always hop those archers inside of the tower and then repair the tower and try and shoot the villagers. Really is painful if you're Black because you're on all these straggler trees. Sure, you're chopping wood faster because of the wood upgrade, but your villagers keep getting hit. So this is kind of negating his whole eco bonus here. Not to mention fletching is in, and there's Black. Oh, man, is anyone else really annoyed by this right now? Is anyone else like, oh, my goodness. I feel so bad for Black. He's looking for a wood line. Check this out. He's looking for a wood line, so he sees it, and there he goes. I'll be very curious to see what Emil's up to with that scout. Okay, see, Emil's over here. So he's clearly looking to deny wood. Now, it'll be kind of interesting here. Emil only has 12 more stone to repair with. And I guess we'll see how this plays out. Emil's got a lot of archers. Fletching is now in for Black. He's starting to farm. It's very aggressive. And so it gets very sloppy, these types of games. You've seen both players get pop capped a few times. A great job from Black. He's going to kill this scout. Emil was probably microing over here. Emil obviously has to get working with getting resources flowing at home. But Emil should know that the wood is there now. He does. And here he comes, but now they're skirmishers. Now, if everything goes as planned, you're able to do more damage, right? If you're able to do more damage, you're okay with losing your archers now. But losing those archers feels really bad because now you're outnumbered with the range department, and the skirmishers completely counter that. Now, there's this thing that players get used to doing, guys, and it's kind of, well, there's a term for it, and it's called game sense. I'm sure you've heard of that. But it's all about recognizing what you're exposed to, okay? And so I don't know if we're going to see it exactly, but this is the weirdest wall I've ever seen in my life. But the big thing is you're exposed against scouts if you're Black. Black getting armor now. If he gets armor, that means these archers really can't be taking fights. But what they could do is they could run in towards the villagers, and it looks like Black knows this. Black's done kind of everything right, except for maybe moving too far this way. And Emil decides, let's not do that. And so he's doing a good job of microing, and he's actually adding his own skirms here to kind of cancel out these skirms from Black. And actually, Black wasn't able to take the engagement I expected there. Nothing worse than having to react all the time. React, 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 react. Good players are going to punish you Look at this. Tons of villagers on stone for Emil. It's way too many. Probably just because of all the focus on the micro. It's funny how, like, if he were to be sending army from his base, it would be perfect. But because his base is here, it's not working anymore. I also love the forward farms with Khmer. You could only do this with the Khmer. It really suits the strategy. I think Black has definitely struggled to keep up with this. But Black is 3 eco upgrades in. We have the Feudal Age Wood, and then the Castle Age Wood upgrade, and then the Feudal Age Farm upgrade. And I mentioned earlier, you have to realize what you're exposed against. If you're Black, you gotta be thinking that scouts would hurt you here. And we haven't seen a stable or anything from Emil, but notice how he plays completely open here. He's got to be careful, though, Emil. He's got to be careful he doesn't lose all of this. He's going to try and get away, and you know it is good from him to use his own skirms to cancel these archers out, but the archers are not going to live long, and great job from Black. Look at that micro, man! And now he can bring the scout in. The scout will help. That was very well done. Look, he's expecting the archers to fire on him, too. That was insane micro from Black. Now, he did have 3 minutes of TC idle time because he was focusing on the micro so much, but that was good. So, Black's like, I'm good, man. I'm good. I haven't really found my opponent much. I haven't really seen what he's up to, but I'm good. Looks like he was there with something at some point. He's like, let's counterattack now. I've got my wood line. I can take my gold. I've got plenty of farms. I've got plenty of stone for more towers. And here he goes. Off to the opponent's base. And you can see Black is already making a spearman, right? So he expects... Oh, and the spearman gets caught out by those archers. That's so good. Look, he runs forward. He sees the stable and is like, oh, crap. Okay, we might have scouts. And this is where having that gold income is going to be helpful, because then you can mix in a few archers. You've got 2 archer ranges, so it always makes sense. And we see a tower, and the skirms are going to fall back, which is probably what you should do in this situation. And we are going to see this market get slapped, man. He's got so many resources banked up, but not the resources he needs. And look at that. Emil buys the food and is on the way to Castle Age. Okay, so now Black is moving forward a bit more confidently, right? Because he's got the spearman. 0 to 0 eco KD. It's been a really good game. 20 to 11 KD. And Black... it feels like has defended from virtually everything. I still can't get over this wall. This wall is so funny to me. The forward base has made it so awkward for Black. Those archer rangers are just going to sit there for now. And this is making life awkward for Emil, because Emil could lose villagers to this. And maybe should have made a few houses here. And, oh, the quick wall. Nope, doesn't matter. These spearmen weakening the scout, killing the scout. And obviously, Emil is just waiting for knights, right? And Emil doesn't have horse collars, so a lot of these farms are going to expire at some point. But does still have gold, does still have farms, and then also, wow, what's that house? Just very, very messy at the moment. Black making a stable and is probably crossing his fingers. He's like, I hope that this guy isn't up yet. Now, let me tell you, I have faced Emil and Kongensade, the 2 Denmark players who use this strategy, enough times to where I relate to Black's situation right now. You defend from it, you get a good counterattack in, you feel like you're good, and then he's in Castle Age so fast, you don't really know what to do. And I've been there. In fact, the reason I have this game in the first place is simply because I said, hey, that strategy's really good. If you ever have any good games with it, pass it along to me and let me know. Look at Emil, has to relocate the wood line. It's incredible uptime, like 21, 21:30, or actually he clicked up at that time, but to be up at that time, after not killing any villagers, after losing a lot of those archers, after a negative KD is impressive. I think that's the benefit of having 0 idle time at home, because you're focusing so much, forcing your opponent to focus so much on the front. Black's walls are still like really bothering me. I think what he's going to have to do here is go small wall, kind of in a circle here. I'd like to see a gate here and maybe some walls towards it. Here he kills a villager. That's our second vill kill in the game, sorry. And he also has spearmen. So, you know, you're thinking, okay, Emil up to Castle Age faster. That could be really good. Well, he didn't really have the blacksmith for a while there. Still doesn't have the blacksmith. So he doesn't have any upgrades. And he's not able to kill this right now. And he is going to drop a castle. And you all thought that this was going to be about the freaking forward. I mean, the forward's obviously really cool. And how Black has dealt with it has been impressive. But guys, there's a certain unit that was recently buffed. I remember remarking and saying, why did they buff this unit? Because if you mass it, it's already really strong. We see it in community games all the time, okay? The ballista elephant. Community games, 40, 50 ballistas, you just cannot kill them. We are now going to see a player try and focus on the ballista elephants in a competitive, high-level 1v1. Look at the farms coming out now. That food income is going to be needed. More ballistas are on the way. Okay, skirmishers getting chewed up. That's good. Good micro from Emil there. You know how Black in the next stage. Burgundians, you can research the Cavalier upgrade in the Castle Age, but no bloodlines. Feels like a great position for Black. Black can dive in here to the gold, and Black's going to get some kills. That's the third villager Black has killed. The only thing that Black could have really improved this game is just keeping villagers producing a little more consistently out of the TC. A lot of players at this time, these days, are using hotkeys for that while they're fighting. Black maybe still stuck to his roots, you know, like the old timer he is, like we all are. He's been around a while, and so he's killed villagers. He's back to creating villagers. He is currently, I would say, ahead. He's obviously kept Emil completely off of golds. And here come the ballistas. Now, these have 270 HP. I think they used to have 8 base attack. But now it's 10 base attack. Maybe if someone could tell me what they changed, that would be good, so I'm sharing the proper information. So the Cavalier can outrun the ballistas. The Cavalier can spread out and hit different angles, unlike the ballistas. But the idea behind a ballista elephant is that you have an unstoppable push. You need to get to a big enough ball where they just cannot deal with it. What should you do? What would I do? I would probably make some monks. I would probably run around with the Cavalier like we're seeing from Black now. I really like this. Keep your opponent in his home as long as possible and try and expand your economy. Very awkward base layout for Black. Look at this. He goes in with the Cavalier here, sees the TC, goes in with the Cavalier here. And you see what it does to your opponent? You're left wondering if they maybe should have had army here. Now, Emil's really got to hop inside the houses, but I don't think Emil's actually noticing in time. And Black gains the Vill lead as he still tries to run around from these ballista elephants. Now, guys, these things do not benefit from fletching and bodkin. I'm not sure if Emil even knew that. I'm sure he didn't go into this game saying, let's go for ballistas, but it just maybe felt natural because of having all that extra stone. Black has quite a few Cavalier. These things are tanky. They have a Scorpion, so it does pass-through damage, which is very nice when the Cavalier mass. In fact, I think you almost need to use spread formation with your Cavalier. I like the focus from Black, though. He stayed on 1 TC for a while here. Produced a lot of army to control the game again. Ballista Elephant attack increased from 8 to 10. Okay, so that's the only change. Thank you. And, oh, Black wants to drop a castle in here. Now, you could maybe drop a castle here. He doesn't really know everything's there. I think the safer castle is probably right here. Black, I can guarantee you he's never lost to ballista elephants. You know, so he sees that and he's like, okay, easy game, easy life. And probably didn't read the patch, though. It's most people aren't going to know. Look at the damage they do. Look at the damage. And now he's like, wait a second. What do I make? 14 villagers killed by Black. He's played this game incredibly well. He's lost 0. And that might change here in a moment, but it was a good time to bring it up. But obviously use monks to get some conversions here. That would always help. He wants to make a ram, so he wants to maybe push the castle down. Here go those ballistas. And again, they're passing through a lot of the Cavaliers, so that killed 2 of them. Still backing away, and look how little damage they took. That's from Cavalier. That's from 12 base attack. This knight is going to kill a monk. The Cavalier are now like, oh, guys, what's happening? What's happening? And the ballista elephants continue. Black has a lead, but all of a sudden, These ballista elephants are looking really difficult to deal with. We got the ram! Oh my god, the ram just rammed down a ballista elephant. Also, it's really funny to see a ballista elephant versus ballista elephant. Now, black is switching into eco now, so he's going to add the town centers. Again, you know, 6.5 minutes of TC idle time. That is definitely one of the differences in this game. Obviously, he uses hotkeys to produce villagers. What I meant earlier is that when I made a TC tips video you guys could look for, when I'm microing, I use Shift H, and it selects all my TCs, so you can select all your TCs and create vills while you're doing this. A lot of players are going back to their base and doing it manually like that still. Because that's something that, you know, we all had done for years. Man, these ballistas are looking strong, and I think the stone count for Emil is looking good enough to drop a castle. I just don't know where you place it. Look at the stats on these bad boys. They take very little damage from towers. You just run in right underneath the towers. Another monk goes down. Like, what other unit can you just roll through their base with when they've got Cavalier? Cavalier with full Castle Age armor, no less, guys. These Cavalier, many of them are weak from the earlier engagements against these. And here we have black, and black's going to try and go for a trap. Black aiming to trap, but I'm not sure who is trapped with who here, because this KD is just getting out of hand now. There are a lot of weak elephants. A lot of Cavalier have gone down, and let's see. If black can convert a couple here, also has the TC fire to help a little bit. Okay, he's going to push this away, but wow, man. 10 attack now. Black, though, could, and you could maybe say should, gain the Vill lead with 3 TCs, but he's getting pushed back. He's getting pushed back. There we go. Great defense from black. Emil gets pushed back. That rhymes. Going for the 3rd TC now is Emil. That pressure, man. Emil is so good at pressuring and keeping his eco clean behind it. He's now caught up. He's got his wood upgrade. And he wants to drop another castle, and he's now going to go for monks. He goes for double monastery. Ooh. Okay, he thought about placing one there, I'm sure. As did black. Oh, geez. Okay, this is a big moment. Okay, black wants to drop a castle forward, and so does Emil. I mean, the numbers look good enough for black, right? Like, that's what it feels like instinctively, but I think my instincts are wrong. A lot of the Cavalier are going to be focusing on the ballistas, so they can't focus on the villagers. We have 2 castles going up in the same spot. Siege rolls in now for black. The ballistas are still getting kills. They've got 14 kills, this group. Remember, a lot of the units went down, and now these villagers are in harm's way. For both players, black repairs his mangonel. I think he's got to continue to build the castle. Black, you better continue to build the castle. It's nice. Castle's not going to go up now. But will Emil's castle go up? I think Emil's castle will go up. He already has more villagers. He has the ballista elephants. It's a little messy. The villagers are probably not enjoying life right now, but that castle should be completed. Black now has nothing. He's making monks. He's making Cavalier. He's sending the vills. He's panicked, but he's got 2 TCs right here. I really wonder how this game would have developed if he would have finished the castle. I think that was a mistake from black to pull that many villagers to repair the siege. But anyways, he runs in, and these villagers are going to run right into the shots. And I don't think this castle ever completes. The castle goes up for Emil. Ballista elephants now have over 30 kills. Black calls the GG. Ballistas aren't bad. Ballistas are genuinely not bad anymore. And I never think they were. It's just they weren't quite good enough to justify in 1v1s. I understand that, you know, there were some small things here we could always talk about, right? These players are not flawless. But remember, like, Cavalier in Castle Age is unique to the Burgundians. He had a lot of Cavalier. He had a lot of monks. Imagine if you didn't get Cavalier in Castle Age. Imagine that initial play if black couldn't get Castle Age eco upgrades in Feudal Age. It's a very good game. Now, let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to the repair moment. That's actually a very good point. Okay, so let's try and guess what happens here. So this is at 75%. This is at 40. Now, Emil has 19 vills. Black only has 11. But I think if he continues to build, Granted, you never know because the ballistas could have killed the villagers. I think at the very least the castle goes up, right? Because this gets denied around 80%. 90%, excuse me. I think the castle goes up, but then I also think the castle goes up for Emil. And then I think Emil would probably just make rams to deal with this. But obviously the ending was pretty tragic for Black. But I think even if his castle goes up, the castle for Emil goes up, and then Black is really going to struggle. Because he doesn't have any army anymore. Our base is, so what is the answer to ballista elephants except for monks? Well, it is expensive, and it can only be in one spot. You can't use ballista elephants to raid like a cavalier. So, as always, what I always say against any really strong unit, a lot of people are like, T90, how do I stop the gods? T90, how do I stop conquistadors? T90, how do I stop you from being annoying? You can't do that. But for the first two things, you have to do damage to them and get ahead before they get to that really good unit, right? So, like, when you see your opponent's gone into a castle and you did not, in theory, the other aspects of your eco is good, right? I still am not sure. I mean, we have to see how ballista elephants develop. I'm okay with them being meta for a while. It doesn't hurt. But for a unit that's that tough to stop, because I don't even think skirms are that good. These things have 270 HP. I was very surprised that they upped the amount of attack. But, you know, we'll have to see how things progress. I think what hurt Black in this game was the idle TC time because he had the town centers. He just struggled to keep villagers producing all the time. And Emil, super aggressive player, really cool forward. I loved how the game developed there. Another thing he'll do, by the way, if you're not fully walled, is he will go scouts on the front. So, like, you go to counter him, and usually you're just going to have skirmishers because he opens archers. And he won't go Castle Age, and he'll go Scouts. And that was kind of what I was thinking we might see in this game, and he ended up going Castle Age instead. Why weren't Aaronby buffed instead? I don't know, man. I mean, you don't see a lot of Aaronby these days either. There's the KD for you. Here's a look at the economy. Black had more of every resource. I'm sure after that game, he's thinking he threw losing the castle. But, again, I think if his castle goes up, I think he's still in the worst position there. Just those ballistas got so many kills. And Black had to invest in the Cavalier and also monks to stop it, which is not cheap. I know the ballistas aren't the cheapest thing in the world, but you got to outmass those ballistas. You got to outmaneuver those ballistas and get ahead before they start because they're strong now. So apologies in advance. If anyone out there faces up against ballista elephants anytime soon, I apologize for showing the world this video. I'm sure Emil is going to be inspired. Sorry, he's not going to be inspired. He might inspire some players out there to toy around with the confirmed ballistas. I mean, maybe even fast castle, little 2-town center mini boom. And then ballista elephants is a thing? I don't know. Obviously depends. It always does. But GG, there's the APM. Black is apparently faster in the eco and faster in the military. Still couldn't handle it.